It's nice to see you again, Westchester. It is Friday, November 21st, 2025, and I'm Benita Ties with the Westchester Chronicle. This Wednesday, the 19th, the Westchester Borough Council voted to adopt the 2026 budget that has been in the works for the past few months. In that budget is a 3% increase to the sewer fund, which will require a hearing which will take place in December. The budget also includes an increase to the rental license fee to $66 and an increase to the library tax rate from 0.15 to 0.22. The overall property tax, or millage rate, of 8.09 will remain the same for the second year in a row. Another aspect of the budget was a proposal to redistribute a portion of the general fund for a specific emergency medical services, or EMS tax, that would directly go to Good Fellowship Ambulance Services. Back in October, Good Fellowship went to the Borough Council to request more funding as the number of ambulance calls has increased over the last year and their service area has expanded as a result. Now, just to reiterate, there would not be an additional tax increase. The proposed 0.386 millage rate would be taken from the general fund and used specifically for EMS services. Councilman Brian McGinnis voiced his support for the EMS tax, noting that this could be a way that the borough shows support for Good Fellowship by giving them a steady flow of funds that is guaranteed. Councilwoman Vaccaro echoed this claim, adding it will show residents specifically where their tax dollars are going and by having a specific amount going to emergency services. Council Vice President Nicole Shimoni expressed her concerns about making another tax as it would reduce the flexibility of the general fund to allocate dollars to specific projects. This was seconded by Councilwoman Lisa Dorsey, who did not believe there needed to be a designated tax for emergency services. With Borough Councilman Bernie Flynn out this week, Borough Council was deadlocked between supporting the EMS tax or keeping it all in the general fund. Councilman Travis, McGinnis, and Councilwoman Vaccaro all supported the EMS tax, while Councilwoman Dorsey, Council Vice President Shimoni, and Council President Patrick McCoy were against it. It was Mayor Lillian DeBaptiste who broke the tie with her vote to not have a separate EMS tax. The 2026 budget without the EMS tax was approved 5-1, with Councilman McGinnis dissenting. With the budget passed, all there is left is the hearing for the 3% sewage rate increase that will take place in December. This past Monday the 17th, the 3 Chester County Commissioners, who also make up the election board, voted along party lines to accept thousands of provisional ballots cast in this month's election on November 4th. Due to an error, third-party and independent voters in Chester County were excluded from the poll books and, before it was corrected, forced to cast provisional ballots. The issue was remedied by that afternoon, and poll hours were extended until 10 p.m. Our editor, Kyle Hudson, spoke with County Commissioner Josh Maxwell about the meeting and the process of figuring out what went wrong.
Hi, everybody. It's your friendly neighborhood Kyle Hudson from the Westchester Chronicle, and I am here with Chester County Commissioner Josh Maxwell. How are you, Josh?
I'm doing great, Kyle.
So, you've been updating folks a lot online with your social media posts regarding what went on with the election last week. So, I wanted to give you a chance just to for those people who may not have seen your Facebook posts, because we post this on more than just Facebook. If you want to tell people where you are at in regards to the poll book errors.
We hired independent law firm to with no connections to the county to do a deep dive into what happened, and we're going to respect their work, empower that work, and then be responsive when it's completed and share it with the public. The error was that independents and third-party candidates were not in the poll books. As of out of 12,600, so what happens is if you're not in a poll book, you're still allowed to vote. You have to vote with something called a provisional ballot, which takes considerably longer, and most people would prefer not having to do. But we had 12,600 provisional ballots submitted. Polls stayed open until 10 o'clock by court order. And during that 8 to 10 o'clock hours, you can only vote provisionally. So actually, a lot of Republicans and Democrats ended up voting provisionally as well during the last 2 hours. When the election was over, uh, uh, folks are given an opportunity, political parties and candidates are given an opportunity to challenge provisional ballots. They were reviewed by staff. 300 of the ballots were from folks who either weren't registered to vote or registered to vote in a different county. So those were set aside and not counted. The Republican Committee of Chester County contested nearly 1,200 ballots, which meant that we have to hold a public hearing about that in order to get the election certified quickly, or as in the appropriate amount of time as required by law. We found out how many they were contesting on Friday. We scheduled the hearing after advertising it for Monday at 9 a.m. We had a 6-hour hearing to hear their arguments for not wanting to have those votes counted. They dropped challenges to around 800 ballots. We ended up voting 2-1, Commissioner Moskowitz and myself, in favor of counting the remaining 260 ballots with errors there. We had about 30 residents come, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, asking for us to count their ballots. It is our belief, my belief, and the county's belief that this was likely a human error by a government employee, and the voters shouldn't be disenfranchised because of that error. So those votes are counted. They have to scan the ballots in order for them to make their way to the Department of State website for folks to get voter credit and get confirmation that the vote was counted. Out of those 12,000 ballots, they're through 4,000 so far. The Republican Committee has 2 days to appeal the ruling of the Board of Elections, and that is in 15 minutes. So we will be able to finish the count first thing tomorrow. It takes 250 man-hours to scan 12,600 ballots. So they're chewing through it at 1,000 or 2 a day. But hopefully before Thanksgiving, everyone could get the voter credit. And hopefully by the close of business tomorrow, all the candidates will know how many votes they received or didn't receive. And then the following week, we'll certify the election.
So if someone is curious about the status of their ballot, I know you had posted about online to contact you, but you said now you told me earlier there's a process that people can use to find out the status of their vote. How can they find that out?
The Department of State website, and I think they search with either their voter ID or possibly their name and address. Only about half of the folks who voted provisionally are uploaded yet. Another 1,000 or 2 are get uploaded every day. But what we can tell people of those, the 1,200 that were challenged, we voted to count all but 3. So if your ballot was challenged, it is most certainly counted, or will be tomorrow.
What were the 3 outstanding ones? What made them special?
They were in security envelopes, but not attached to a voter. So there's an outer envelope that the voter signs, and then there's a security envelope. So they're in a security envelope. So there's no way to confirm that they didn't vote a different way. So you have to attach each vote to a voter, not the ballot, but the vote, to confirm that someone didn't vote by mail-in and then come in and vote provisionally. So there's no way to confirm that those ballots weren't filled out by someone who may have previously voted.
So election security, I think, is something that a lot of voters have on their minds. And to people who, saw the errors with the parliamentary race in the spring, primary, and then this happening, what do you say to people who are worried about the state of elections in Chester County?
I think I think these things are getting very complicated for a variety of reasons. One, I think they're trying to appease multiple masters, the public, the political parties. These aren't high-paid jobs. Unfortunately, they're certainly filled with stress, and I think we're not doing a good enough job managing that and supporting them. So I think we need to improve the culture of the department and start doing a better job making folks feel appreciated and making sure we're recruiting the best people for those gigs, realizing that these are very important jobs, not necessarily lower level. The parliamentary mistake was a lawyer's mistake, and so not an employee of voter services, but someone in the solicitor's office. But 2 mistakes in a year it's 2 mistakes too many. Thus, we're going to do a thorough review and make sure that we have our to-do list of all the things that we need to fix, ones we're aware of and ones that we're not.
So, what commitments can you make for 2026 to make sure? I mean, this is a pretty, not to say that any election is more important than another, but this has a lot of national implications, and this is going to be a much more high-profile race. So, what are you personally doing to make sure that none of these mistakes or any other mistakes happen next year?
Next year. So we do have the ability to run very big elections well. We're lucky that these mistakes happen in a municipal year and not a year next year, but the last several federal elections, including the presidential elections, the staff has excelled with very little issue. Even last year, after we certified the election in which President Trump won, the Republican solicitor, and it's in the Inquirer, asked us to give the staff a raise because they did such a great job. I don't know if her comments were predicated on who wins the election. She certainly felt differently about their ability to do a job this year, but we need to. We're going to have to really look at everything and make and copy and paste the best policies from around the country. We need to make sure we have the right staff in the right positions. We need to make sure we have the right equipment, the right checks. We need to spend this winter before petitioning starts in, I believe, February, making sure that our ducks in a row. So usually they work a lot in November and September, and October and November, and the winter is a little bit calmer. I don't think that's going to be the case this winter. We're going to have to look under every, figuratively speaking, under every table, every piece of paper, every staff member, figure out what their capabilities are, and make the necessary adjustments so they're in the best position to be successful next year.
Is there anything else you want to say to our viewers?
No, I just apology for folks affected by this. I'm glad we were able to get those votes counted. Folks absolutely deserve that, and they deserve improvements, and that's the phase we're moving into right now.
And I guess if people want to reach out to you, if they directly, I know you're a very public person, you're pretty reachable. How can they reach out to you?
Josh Maxwell at Chisco.org.
All right. Well, thank you, Commissioner Maxwell. Thank you for your time, and you have a good weekend.
You too, buddy. Thanks.
We reached out to the Republican Committee of Chester County, who challenged the legality of the provisional ballots. Unfortunately, we were unable to arrange an interview before our broadcast. We have been in communication with Chairman Rafi Terzian and look forward to speaking with him about this important issue. Are you an independent voter who had to cast a provisional ballot? We want to hear from you. You can reach us at westchesterchronicle@gmail.com. We look forward to hearing from you. This is a continuing story, so be sure to subscribe to our channel for updates as they come. Last Saturday, November 15th, one of Westchester's oldest institutions welcomed a new era at the 2025 Melton Center Celebration Gala. The gala, titled Grand Reveal, Unveiling Possibilities, featured an evening of live jazz by Tony Big Cat Smith, a banquet dinner, and speeches from local politicians, including State Senator Carolyn Comita, Mayor Lillian DeBaptiste, and Councilwoman Lisa Dorsey, as well as several members of the center's board of directors. The highlight of the evening was the announcement that the Charles A. Melton Center, now in its 107th year of service to the borough and its residents, will officially be changing its name to the Westchester Community Center. Our field correspondent, OCL Hicks, attended the event and spoke with Executive Director Ken Winston about the changes.
The new name was because we felt that the Charles A. Melton Center, the building should be named the Charles A. Melton Center. We felt that the name Charles A. Melton Arts and Education was too long. We felt that it didn't tell us where we're at, Westchester Community Center. I believe they changed it in 2005 because arts and education that's where the grants were, whatever, and they wanted to honor Mr. Melton. We still want to honor Mr. Melton. We're going to have a sign that says Charles A. Melton Building, but we feel like our original name since 1918 to 2005, I think people still call it the Community Center. So that's what led to the name for strategic planning and also marketing and Westchester.
And what are you most excited about as the community center moves into this new era and the next steps for it?
I'm excited about the first run of getting everything renovated. And then maybe the next person can start the process again, like a new roof and blah, blah, blah. Like the infrastructure and programmatic. And also creating funding, enough funding to be sustainable for the next 107 years.
You can find more clips from the event, including the speeches delivered, on all of our social medias. Also, if you want to support the West Chester Community Center, you can now go to westchestercommunitycenter.org. Now, before we go, we want to invite you to a fun holiday event happening next month. West Chester Chronicle presents A Christmas Carol. Our editor-in-chief, Kyle Hudson, will be reading the abridged edition Charles Dickens made himself for when he would perform the story as he toured the world beginning in 1849. The reading will be held at the newly named West Chester Community Center at 7 p.m. on December 19th, the 182nd anniversary of the original publication. Tickets will be $10, and all proceeds will go to the West Chester Community Center and the Chester County Food Bank. Happy holidays, and we hope to see you there. That's all for today's episode. As always, we want to thank you for your time, and we hope to see you soon. We'll be off next week, so have a happy Thanksgiving. Don't forget, the first issue of the West Chester Chronicle newspaper will be available December 1st, 2025. You can find a link to where you can pick one up and how you can get a subscription in the description below. Until then, I'm Benita Ties with the West Chester Chronicle.